Anthony Fantano, aka The Needle Drop, is one of the most polarizing figures in the music world. With over 5 million subscribers across all his channels, he's been the biggest music critic on YouTube for over a decade. But with that influence comes controversy, especially when it comes to hip-hop. Some rappers just can't handle a bad review, and when it comes from Anthony Fantano, they really can't help but fire back. Here are 5 rappers who've taken shots at the internet's busiest music nerd. Way before Post Malone's Stoney racked up billions of streams and was certified 5 times platinum, Fantano gave the album a not good rating and claimed there was nothing special about this album. For anyone not familiar with Fantano's rating system, a not good rating is equivalent to a 1 or even worse, 0 out of 10. However, the comments under his video did not agree with his opinion. Damn, I'm like personally offended by this review. I love this album so much. I feel like Post did something personal to offend Anthony. That was a straight diss track. Fantano then shared his review on Twitter, hoping people would agree with him, but nobody was on his side. That's when Malone started reposting tweets that were mocking Fantano's review. After having some fun at Fantano's expense, Post Malone replied directly, "But if you gave J. Cole a mediocre rating, I'll take it as a compliment." To which Fantano replied, "See, every cloud has a silver lining," prompting Post to fire back with, "And every Anthony Fantano has a dick tickler." Fantano simply laughed it off. However, Post Malone would eventually get the last laugh because during his review, Fantano famously said,
"But I think he's really going to pan out as a one-hit wonder."
That bold prediction didn't age well because Post Malone's next album, Bare Bonks and Bentleys, was certified platinum in only 4 days, and currently, Post Malone is one of the biggest artists in the entire world. While Malone's response was playful, Drake's was a lot more personal. With the exception of, if you're reading this is too late, Fantano has never given Drake a good album review. He even went so far as to give Honestly Nevermind a not good rating. So it came as a complete surprise when Fantano uploaded a video titled, "Drake Slid Into My DMs."
I was reached out to by one of the biggest voices in the music industry.
Fantano then showed the messages he had been sent. "Anthony, it's Drizzy. I know we don't really see eye to eye about music and that you're not the biggest fan of most of my albums, but it is what it is, you know? But I'm not messaging you about your videos. I'm actually messaging you because I found a really great vegan cookie recipe I'd love you to try." As funny, weird, and interesting as that message was, it turned out to be 100% fake, because the very next day, Drake shared the real messages he sent to the YouTube star. "Your existence is a light one, and the one is cause you are alive. And cause you somehow wifed a black girl. I'm feeling a light to decent one on your existence." Unfortunately for Drizzy, Fantano wasn't fazed, and on Instagram Live had this to say about the hitmaker. "Why is Drake messaging me? I'm not 18 years of age. That's kinda weird." No surprise, this was a reference to rumors about Drake's relationship with Millie Bobby Brown, which has been talked about so much in the past few years that I'm pretty sure everybody on the entire planet knows about this. As for Fantano, he had more to say. This is why he has ghostwriters, because this is the quality of insult you get when that man is working solo dolo. If I wanted a good insult in my inbox, he would have had to have paid somebody else to come in and do it. Those are fighting words, and this was definitely one of the strangest beefs ever in hip-hop. Unfortunately for Drake, many people felt like he took a huge L, and that by posting the real messages himself, he came across as childish, emotional, and bitter, all because a music critic didn't give him good scores. Now, you would think Fantano's harshest reviews would spark the biggest reactions, but Vince Staples proves that even a 6 out of 10 can cause serious drama. Much like Drake, Vince also has a deep hatred for Fantano despite getting decent reviews. For one reason or another, the Long Beach rapper has always believed that Fantano doesn't understand black culture.
It's great, Anthony Fantano gave us a 6 out of 10, so I want to thank you for the kind words of encouragement. We love you even though you don't love us.
After receiving a 6 out of 10 on Big Fish Theory, one of his most acclaimed projects from 2017, Vince didn't respond at all. Well, that is until Fantano decided not to mind his own business and speak on a Twitter beef between Vince and metal vocalist Ronnie Radke. Vince wasted no time going at the music nerd. "Ain't you get caught being alt-right? This ain't a good day to interact with me, brosif. I'm giving out the full clip." Obviously, Fantano responded to Vince, claiming that wasn't true and that the article was a hit piece. After that, things seemed to quiet down a bit, and Fantano gave Vince's next album, FM, a strong 7 to a light 8. In late 2018, Fantano tweeted at Vince, wanting to link up at one of his shows, which led many people to believe the beef was over. However, just as recently as 2023, Vince was vividly describing how he would unalive the biggest music critic on YouTube.
I would get a boat. I would dock the boat east side of Long Beach, off Ocean, by the roof Chris. Drag him on the boat by his feet, put him on the back of the boat, take his After you take his you leave him on Catalina Island. You cut him open and you leave him with the goats.
Sheesh. Talk about going overboard. Vince's hate for his bald nemesis was loud and clear. Meanwhile, Eminem's diss was way more subtle. Throughout his legendary career, Eminem has never seen eye to eye with critics, and ever since Revival, many people believe he, quote-unquote, fell off. In 2014, on a song called Calm Down, M rapped, "I sit in front of my computer all day and comment on everything. I'm an expert on everything. Everything sucks. Play the next song." Immediately, most people thought he was talking about Fantano. This prompted the YouTube star to upload a video titled, "Eminem Dissed Me." Although the 4.5-minute video was Fantano just pretending to be mad about the entire situation. Now, Eminem himself hadn't specified who the diss was aimed at, but in 2022, Westside Boogie, who is signed to Eminem's label, Shady Records, implied it was meant for Anthony Fantano.
Like it was this dude named Anthony Fontaine. I love that name dropping. His name like Needle Drop on YouTube. He like famous for like rating people albums.
Oh Lord.
So he gave me like a 7.5, and obviously my brain, I think I'm supposed to have 100 out of 10. He gave Eminem a 2. So Eminem was like, "Yo, he give me bad grades every time. You can't take that personal because like some people just not gonna understand it."
Looks like Eminem is clearly aware of Fantano's ratings, and even though he continued to get bad reviews, his response was way more chill than our next rapper, Logic, who went straight for Fantano's neck. Literally. Kind of. You'll see what I mean. Bobby Tarantino, aka Logic, was not exactly embraced by hip-hop at the peak of his career. Regardless of all the reasons why, critics like Fantano were not a big fan. In fact, throughout Logic's career, the music nerd has rated the majority of his projects at a score of 5 or lower, including Supermarket, which received a 0. If I didn't know any better, I think Fantano straight up hated the guy. Weirdly enough, during Logic's retirement, he and Fantano became good friends. However, Logic later admitted his low scores always placed a heavy mental burden on him.
He does, but he would review my music ever since my mixtapes, and it would always like fuck me up because he would always basically say how I wasn't like good enough.
He would go into more detail about this subject on his 2022 song, La Donda, in which he spoke about wanting to unalive Fantano in the past. "Feel it in my bald spot. Anthony Fantano. I used to hate you because you shit on my music. I used to fantasize about murdering you, choking you to death." Yeah, that was pretty dark. This is what I meant when I said Logic went for Fantano's neck. Just like Vince Staples, Logic had taken the music criticism way too personally. On his live stream, Fantano reacted to the song and was left speechless for 3 straight minutes. Eventually, he would share his thoughts.
There never should have been any reason why Logic should hate me in the first place. Because I'm just reviewing albums. You know, you're just one of many guys whose albums I review.
Whether you love him or hate him, you gotta agree with Fantano on that part. It's not that deep. In all of his videos, the one thing he always says is that it's just his opinion. He's not going to deviate from what made him a YouTube star in the first place just because some rappers may call him out. Some people think he's a culture vulture, and others applaud him for his authenticity. Only time will tell how many more rappers become his enemies, but one thing's for certain, it's sure to be entertaining.